Hello and welcome to LFC Focus. It is finally time for the biggest match of Liverpool's season so far. The biggest match probably since the Europa League final 2 years ago. Liverpool are taking on Manchester City, the best team in the world, in a Champions League quarter-final first leg at Anfield tomorrow night. And it is one of the most exciting matches you could possibly put together. You know, two of Europe's most exciting teams to watch, two of Europe's most attackingly fluid teams. Whenever they come up against each other, you're almost guaranteed entertainment and spectacle and a brilliant football match, whatever happens. It's Klopp versus Guardiola. It's a clash of two incredibly staunch and excellent footballing philosophies, and it is on one of the biggest stages possible, with it being in a European competition in the knockout stage at Anfield, one of Europe's most incredibly atmospheric stadiums. I mean, the stage feels set for an incredible match, and I think as Liverpool fans, it's set for us to have the absolute time of our lives for 90 minutes. I think it's safe to say. I mean, an awful lot has been made about the Anfield atmosphere going into this game, and personally, I couldn't be more jealous of the people that are going. I'm so upset that I'm not going to this game, because it just won't be the same watching it on television as it will be, you know, going to, I'm sure, the King Harry pub beforehand, greeting the coach, singing during the pre-match warm-ups and stuff like that, and then going absolutely balmy for what I'm sure will be the full 90 minutes of, again, what I'm sure will be an absolutely incredible tie. But yeah, promises to be fantastic, promises to be entertaining, promises to bring out some fantastic spectacle, and a great example of the English game, and a great example of two coaches with excellent philosophies pitting them against each other to see who will come out on top. So team news going into this fantastic game, and it's not great. It's not great as a Liverpool fan. Obviously we're all excited. Obviously we're desperate just to start watching this tie, because it will be incredible. We're desperate for it to get going, but unfortunately it hasn't really come at a great time for Liverpool. You know, the game against Crystal Palace wasn't the ideal preparation, you know, having to go down to the absolute wire in a really tough away game at London. But unfortunately, that has taken its toll on Liverpool as well. Joel Matip was announced to be out injured today. He sustained a thigh injury in the game against Palace. He was able to go on until the end of the game, but it now looks like he's going to need surgery to correct it. So that will keep him out until what is likely to be the end of the season. So no Joel Matip for Liverpool in this game, which is a big concern, I think, because, you know, while I actually wouldn't really mind the partnership of Lovren and Van Dijk, I think for this game you'd go with Matip over Lovren just because of certain concerns over playing styles and stuff like that. I still think that if you were to pick two players to survive the injury crisis and in those centre-back positions, it would probably actually be Van Dijk and Lovren. Obviously, they are the only centre-backs Liverpool have left now, with no Clavan, no Gomez, no Matip, and no Emre Can either, who is the other big loss for Liverpool in this game. He had a very, very late fitness test for this game. It felt like it was going to go absolutely down to the wire whether or not Emre Can was going to be available for this game. For me, that's a bigger blow than the loss of Joel Matip, because like I said, with Joel Matip out and Lovren coming in, there's not a massive trade-off there in terms of quality, but I think the loss of Emre Can will be absolutely massive for Liverpool in this game, just because he played so well in that game against Manchester City earlier on in the season at Anfield, and he always seems to bring out some fantastic Rolls-Royce steamroller bulldozing performances in the Champions League. So yeah, two pretty big concerns for Liverpool there, especially what with the fact that this is one game in quite a congested period of fixtures as well, so it kind of takes away Liverpool's ability to rotate as well, which is potentially an even bigger problem than the fact that we're missing players that would have potentially been in the starting 11 for this match. But yeah, quite a few problems there on the injury front. Still no Adam Lallana as well. Obviously he came off injured against Crystal Palace. Joe Gomez, still no real time scale on when he's going to make it back. No Ben Woodburn as well. I think he's out injured as well. Not that it was ever really likely that he'd play any role in this game. And no Ranyar Klavan as well, like I mentioned earlier. So a lot of players missing for Liverpool, but I still reckon we can put together a very, very good starting 11 for this game. I'm going with Karius in goal. No surprises there. You know, he's the number one, undisputed now. No Simon Mignolet, none of that, thank you very much. Karius is the number one goalie for this match and for every single game. Centre-back pairing obviously has to be Van Dijk and Lovren. There are no other options for Liverpool there. Like I said, not really ideal. Personally, I'm not sure about Lovren in this game. I think you want Joel Matip, a defender who's a little bit better with his legs and stuff like that. Dejan Lovren's quite an aggressive aerial defender, so it doesn't really suit him this kind of game. But, you know, you never know. His style does complement Van Dijk as well, so hopefully Van Dijk deals with everything on the floor and Lovren can do a little bit of his muscle work and stuff like that. So yeah, Van Dijk and Lovren, centre-back partnership for this game. Either side of them, you're going with Robertson on the left. Obviously, he's great. He bossed the game against Sterling last time these teams played each other, so fingers crossed for another one of those incredible performances from Andy Robertson. The kind of performance that actually really put his name on the map as one of the best left-backs, potentially the best left-back in the country at the moment, so no problems with Robertson starting there. The right-hand side is where there are issues, because Liverpool will have to play Trent Alexander-Arnold in this game. You can't throw Klein in for this. If you haven't tested him out at all against Crystal Palace, to throw him in a Champions League quarter-final tie at Anfield against, like I said, the best team in the world is bonkers. You can't do it. And while I'd love to have Klein, because I think tactically and sort of playing style-wise, he suits this game more than Trent Alexander-Arnold, you just can't do it because of fitness issues. And obviously, no Joe Gomez as well, because he's still out injured. So you go with Alexander-Arnold at right back. Onto the midfield, I think we're going to see Henderson, Milner and Oxlade-Chamberlain. Now, there's obviously the shout for Gini Wijnaldum. He is the other midfielder. Someone has to get the bullet for this game. Someone's not going to be able to feature for Liverpool. We've got 4 fit midfielders. We can only fit 3 into the side. And I think you drop out Gini Wijnaldum just because I think you want Oxlade-Chamberlain in the team. You need someone who's going to drive forward, who's going to press from the front, and he had a really, really good game against Manchester City last time out. You know, the first half especially, I thought Oxlade-Chamberlain actually helped us to run the show in midfield, so I think he absolutely has to start this game, and like I said, provides that driving force that helps the midfield to link up with the attack as well, which will be so important when we try and get some goals in this tie. I just think then with Wijnaldum, if you have him in the side as well, you're exposing Jordan Henderson a bit too much. If Emre Can was fit, I would have gone with Henderson, Can and Oxlade-Chamberlain, just because I think Henderson thrives off of having that partner who's a sort of half box-to-box midfielder and then half 6, you know, halfway between a 6 and an 8, not a 7, because that's a completely different thing. But you get what I mean. Someone who's a defensive midfielder but can also do a little bit of work going forward. I think Emre Can is perfect for that role. Obviously, he's not available today. James Milner is the closest option Liverpool have as an alternative in that kind of role. So I think you go with Henderson in the base, in the number 6 role, and then Milner and Oxlade-Chamberlain either side of him. And then the attack, absolutely no questions as to who starts in these roles. Salah, Firmino and Mane are going to do the business for Liverpool against City tomorrow night. So Man City then, the team that doesn't really need an introduction, let's be honest. I think we know all about them. We know about the threats that Man City can pose. Like I said, I reckon they are the best team in the world. You know, they're the odds-on favourites to win the Champions League. They are better than Barcelona at the moment, I think, better than Real Madrid, better than any other team on the planet. They are just that good. If you're looking for positives for Liverpool going into this game, they are without Sergio Aguero, who is their #1 striker. Really, he hasn't actually scored at Anfield yet, so it's possible that it would have actually benefited us, maybe, to have Aguero in the City side going in. But, you know, they haven't got Aguero. They're probably going to play Gabriel Jesus instead. That's not a massive trade-off in terms of quality. He is still a very good striker and potentially offers City a little bit more if you're thinking about whether they want to sit back. You know, I think he's slightly more flexible in terms of his positioning. I think he's a bit happier to drop deep, a little bit happier to go out wide and stuff like that as well. So that could actually help City in this game. It could help them in situations like going on the counter-attack and stuff like that. I think the main person to worry about for City, I think it's fair to say, is Leroy Sané. He is their absolute danger man at the moment. He is a big game player as well. He always scores in these type of games. He scored against us twice at the Etihad earlier on in the season. He scored at Anfield in the 4-3 as well. So Liverpool know all about his threat, and he is obviously coming down that side with Trent Alexander-Arnold as well, which could be a massive problem for Liverpool because Alexander-Arnold has struggled a little bit in recent games, a lot of times with players that do like to cut inside, and Leroy Sané, while he isn't that kind of player, you know, he's a left-footed left winger, so he doesn't mind going outside and getting to the byline and stuff like that, but he's just got this devilish movement that makes him so difficult to mark and so difficult to deal with, and it really is going to be, it's going to have to be an incredible performance from Trent Alexander-Arnold, and I think you're also going to need a little bit of cover from his teammates. I think if you put Van Dijk on that side, Hopefully he can help out to deal with things where Trent Alexander-Arnold goes to sleep a little bit or just gets done by Leroy Sané. I think as well you put Milner on the right-hand side of midfield because he's got that little bit of experience at fullback, and I think if Trent Alexander-Arnold starts bombing forward, you want someone who's going to be happy to do a little bit of dirty work, step into that position and mop up and save us from getting embarrassed by Leroy Sané in any kind of situation. So yeah, he is the absolute danger man for Liverpool going into this game, and I just think the way that City play, the way that they stretch defences could cause real problems for Liverpool, especially, like I said, with Gabriel Jesus playing up front and his kind of very intelligent and slightly more mercurial movement than what Sergio Aguero offers for Man City. So if you are looking for some more content to build up to this game, then do check out the podcast from the guys over at the Fields of Anfield Road fan site. Lovely little fan site. They've helped my channel out a lot since very near to the beginning, actually, you know, only 2 months in. So a great little fan site, great community they've got going on there. Check out their podcast for the build up for the game. Here is a clip.
Fiery cauldron called Anfield on a European night, no less. And the complaint then that resulted from and the concerns that resulted from Manchester City as a result. I think that encapsulates everything about this game. You see, it's because Manchester City want exactly that, and they don't have it.
Yeah,
that's what they want. They crave it. They want it.
So yeah, do give that a listen. The link is down below in the description. Obviously, just like all of us, they're massively excited, massively hyped, and actually pretty confident going into this tie. I think it's safe to say, I think despite the fact that Man City are a fantastic team, they are obviously, according to the league table, significantly better than Liverpool according to the points gap between the two teams. But we are still confident that Liverpool can pick up a win. And here are my 3 reasons why I think that we might just do that. First of all, I mentioned when talking about Man City that their passing and their movement is so effective in the way that it stretches defences and pulls them apart and causes problems in terms of positioning. That is how Man City are specialised in opening up teams and creating the space to score some really incredible goals. And I think the most important thing for Liverpool in this game is that we have Van Dijk organising our defence in that area of the pitch to make sure that we don't get stretched, we don't get pulled out of position, and we don't get embarrassed by those Man City attackers and their passing. I mean, when we've played Man City both times this season, we conceded 5 at the Etihad, 3 at Anfield. In neither of those games, we had Virgil van Dijk. We didn't have him organising the defence, telling people what to do, keeping them alert, keeping them disciplined. And I just think with someone in that back line who is so adept marshalling what's going on around him, Liverpool should hopefully avoid getting absolutely pulled apart by that City defence. And I think defending, as much as, you know, the attacking that we know and love from Liverpool, is going to be so important in helping us secure a result that puts us in a good position for the second leg in a week's time. And second of all, it's Anfield and it's a European night. And this has been a bit of an overblown thing in the past. You know, people always talk about European nights at Anfield and how they're amazing and how they can swing the tie. But I think with this one, you know, you just got to accept that it will have a massive effect on what happens tomorrow night. You know, Liverpool fans are bang up for this. Like, we haven't seen them up for a game for a very long time. We've obviously been buoyed by Manchester City's little bit of a hoo-ha they made earlier on just after the draw when Liverpool announced that, well, Liverpool fans announced that they were going to do a proper coach greeting for this. You know, we were going to make a scene before the game. We were going to get the songs going early on. We were going to create an intimidating atmosphere for those Man City players. And I really think this has the potential to be one of the best European nights that Anfield has ever produced in recent history. And that is, I think, the main reason that I'm so upset that I'm not going, because I just think it will be something that's absolutely incredible to be a part of. And if any of you who are watching are going to the game, then just make sure, you know, bring your scarves, bring your songs, bring whatever you can to make as much noise as possible and help those Liverpool players win the game. Because if the atmosphere is on it, if it's really on it, and you got to remember, Man City don't have a great record in Europe recently. You know, they struggled against Monaco in the knockout stages last season. They got knocked out a lot earlier than they should have done, really. They have a little bit of a history of falling at the final hurdles of this tournament. And I think if the crowd's getting on their back early on, it could cause them some real problems and it could swing the tie in Liverpool's favour. And finally, like I said, City are the best team in the world. But if there's one thing that this Liverpool team is capable of doing, it's looking like the best team in the world for just a few short moments, you know. And we saw that against Man City earlier on in the season when we beat them 4-3 at Anfield. The moments when we went 4-1 up, when we scored 3 goals in 10 minutes, Liverpool just suddenly turned into the best team on the planet. We turned into an attack that was completely unplayable, and it's not something that we can always sustain for 90 minutes, you know, because at the end of the day, Liverpool don't really have, you know, the experience. They don't necessarily have the quality to produce those kind of performances. But when the conditions are right, when the night is right, when the fans are behind them and the players believe in themselves, they can make something happen that can change the game. And I think as long as Liverpool time their moments right, as long as Liverpool, when the momentum's with them, make it count and score the goals that swing this tie, we could actually come away with a really, really impressive result and potentially, you know, not have the tie put to bed, but have it really, really in our control going into the second leg. So that is all for today's video. Thank you guys very, very much for watching. I will be back, of course, tomorrow night with the post-match reaction after Liverpool have hopefully smashed Manchester City at Anfield. Until then, don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button there if you're new around here. Check out some of the other videos that have been out on the channel over the past few days as well. Don't forget to follow at LFC Focus TV on Twitter, and I'll see you tomorrow night after Liverpool versus Manchester City. Bye for now.